I don't know about you, but this time of year is pretty exciting in my family with all the fans of football. And so thank goodness I love that sort of food. And so I thought it would be great starting out with football season to introduce you to 3 of our favorites for tailgating and having people over for the game. So we're going to do a chicken wing that you can do in the oven. I'm going to do a broccoli salad that has a little bit of a different twist. I hope you'll like it. And then finally a BLT sandwich with a twist. So let's get started with the chicken wing dish, and I've got some already going in the oven. I'm going to pull those out. Oh, they smell so good. God, doesn't that look great? These are so easy, and I think you're going to love the marinade. So what I've done here is I've already had them soaking for a couple of hours in this marinade, and now the reserve of that marinade I'm going to just baste, put just a little bit more on the top of each one, and then I'm going to show you how to make the marinade while these cook a little bit longer. But it's a wonderful dish and something that you can make and then put in a disposable pan with a little bit of aluminum foil. Now I'm going to sprinkle this with some sesame seeds, and this is going to go back in the oven for about 5 minutes, just until those sesame seeds are nice and golden brown. All right, so let's pop that back in the oven and we'll get started on the marinade. All right, so this uses maple syrup. We've got some soy sauce, and then sesame oil and olive oil. And I love the smell of sesame oil. All right, so I'm just going to whisk that together. And you want to do this just to marinate for just a couple of hours. It doesn't have to be done overnight. So now I've got 3 garlic cloves that I'm going to put into this. And I've got a little secret about how to get the outside of the garlic ready to go into the garlic press. Just take the flat side of your knife and mash it down with the palm of your hand. And that just makes the peeling just peel right off of that garlic. So I'm going to put that into the garlic press. And this is so handy when you're trying to mince the garlic. And we're just going to put that in. And there's just something about chicken wings cooking makes you know that football season is here. All right. And now I've got some fresh ginger, and I've sliced it really thinly. Now I'm just going to take my knife and chop that up into little fine pieces. And this kind of gives it a little bit of an oriental flair, but it's going to have a sweetness to it with the maple syrup. All right, so I'll put that in, and then we're going to be ready to get those wings marinating. All right, so this is ready to go, and now I've got the chicken wings and I've got the separate parts. So we're just going to put that into the marinade, and this will be ready to sit for a couple hours while we get ready to do the broccoli salad and then those wonderful BLT sandwiches. You can do this in a bowl or you can do it in a Ziploc bag, whichever one you've got room for in the refrigerator. All right, so as I said, football season is a time of year where my family really comes together, and I guess it's pretty obvious by my koozie right here which team I'm pulling for this year. I was a home economics major at the University of Georgia back in the day, and back then everybody wore coats and ties to the ball game, and we really had a lot of fun. But tailgating is something that I really enjoy, and our family now just loves to get together on game day. So this is going to be a great dish. We're going to come back after the break. I'm going to put together a broccoli salad that's going to be delicious. So let me check on the chicken wings that are in the oven now, and we'll get started on that when we come back from the break. Oops, Did I mention I was a Georgia fan? Hey, welcome back everybody. And I know if you're like me, you're all about football this time of year. And no, this is not a beer, this is a Fresca. So don't anybody get worried. I'm not drinking on the job. But I am excited about game day and having people over to watch the game. So this is you know, those chicken wings are just cooking in the oven. It's driving me crazy. But this is a wonderful salad if you want to do something the day before that's just gets even better by the second day. But it's a fresh broccoli salad. And I love when I can go in the fresh market to the produce department. The guys are so nice in there. And you can buy just the flowerets and not have to buy the whole bunch of broccoli. And so you're using just the little tops. It's perfect when you can buy it that way. So basically, I've just taken my sharp knife and I'm just going through and cutting into little bite-sized pieces and putting those over in a bowl. And I've already rinsed this off. It's ready to go. And this is going to be something that is very colorful and crisp, and it's not going to be that same old salad that everybody is used to having. And I like to actually pick up those little pieces that fall off and let that be part of it too. The recipe also calls for green onions, so I want to use as much of the green as possible, but I'm just going to cut this into little small slivers. And this is kind of the sweet and salty, sour taste of this salad because the dressing has sugar in it, and then we're going to put grapes in it, and they're so sweet. So it's going to really be good. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of the green in there as well, and then that's ready. So let's get started on the dressing. It uses mayonnaise, and y'all know I love Hellmann's. I get emails sometimes for people voting for their favorite mayonnaise. All right. Ooh. And then sugar, 2 tablespoons, and then cider vinegar. And we're just going to mix that together. And like I said, the longer this sits, the more of these flavors, and then the sugar will actually dissolve into the mayonnaise. All right, so let's add these onions in. And then we've got pecans. So many of my recipes use pecans, and that's kind of the southern thing, I think, with the foods that we cook, whether it's something salty or sweet, we love to put pecans in it. So now I'm just going to mix this together and get that dressed. So good. And you can use any kind of grape. You can use a green grape or, you know, the really dark black grapes. And I love these little red ones. And I actually sometimes will even use the kitchen shears when I'm doing this to cut the grapes in half. But I love to bring them home and just put them in the colander, rinse them off, get them in the refrigerator. And you know, if you have things like that in your refrigerator, maybe your children might choose that as a snack instead of something that's not quite so good for them. All right, so let's get the broccoli in here. And we're just going to toss that around. And like I said, if you're short of space in your refrigerator, once you've done this, you can transfer it to a Ziploc bag. That way it can go easily into the cooler without any problem. And as it sits, it's going to all those flavors, the onions and the sweetness of the grape. You may have had something similar to this before that uses raisins, but raisins are just not my favorite. So I've decided that maybe it would be good with the grapes, and I just really, really love it. So we're going to get this in a Ziploc bag that's going to go in the refrigerator, and then tomorrow morning when it's time to go where we're going, it'll be just perfect, ready to go. So come back with me after the break. We're going to be putting together a BLT sandwich that's got a spread that's wonderful, but I'm also going to show you a tip on how to keep those sandwiches fresh and how you can make them the day before and they'll be just fine. So come back with us after the break. We'll get those sandwiches going. Hey, excuse me. I'm Vera Stewart.
Hey, Nicole McLeod.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Blake Leverett.
Hey, Blake. Vera Stewart. Nice to meet you. Thank y'all. May I join you?
Yes, please.
You know, it's always nice when you're at an event and you don't know everyone to be able to walk up to a group and introduce yourself and ask if you can join them. The most important thing to do after that is to engage yourself in conversation. You want to make sure that you're talking to the person to your right and to your left, and that you are producing conversation that'll be appropriate for everyone to get involved. You know, there's nothing like making new friends, and one of the ways you do that is to make sure that you are okay walking up and introducing yourself to someone. Just today, I've met Nicole and Blake, and I plan to have a wonderful time having conversation with them at this event today. So challenge yourself. The next time you go somewhere, make yourself go up to a group, introduce yourself, maybe invite yourself to join them for lunch, and make sure that you engage in some wonderful conversation. You'll be surprised how much you will enjoy yourself. How about them dogs? You know, I said I wasn't going to do a whole lot of that this time, but you know, I'm excited. My team's my team, and certainly all of you out there have your team too. So this food can work for anybody on any day for any team. So we've done a chicken dish that's wonderful. I've got a broccoli salad that's sitting, marinating, all the flavors are going through. Now we're going to make a BLT sandwich that's a little bit different and something that you can actually make the day ahead as well, and it's still going to be really fresh and great. So let's get started. What we've got is 3 ounces of cream cheese. I'm going to add to that 2 tablespoons of whole milk, a teaspoon of prepared horseradish, and this is Kelsner's brand. I really like it. It's got quite a punch to it. And then we're going to put in about a half a cup of chopped up dried beef. And I know many of you are thinking about that old recipe that we used to always make for that hot dip that had that in there. So this is going to be really good. So we're just going to pulse this in the food processor to get it spreadable. Let me do the sides down on this so all of this can get mixed together. And you can add more horseradish sauce if you like, and even a little bit of Tabasco sauce if you want a really nice punch to this. Okay, that's just about right. Okay, so now we're going to put together a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich that's a little different. And I wanted these to be bite-sized, couple of bite sandwiches. So I love the oatmeal bread. So we're going to do a double stack sandwich. So I'm going to use just a biscuit cutter to cut 2 circles out of each slice of bread. And we'll need 3 slices per sandwich for this particular sandwich. All right, so this is an important thing next. What I've got here is a moistened paper towel, and I'm just going to put the bread under there. And let me show you what we do with this. I'm just going to go up to the sink and just hit this with a little bit of cold water, just with my hands, just to get that nice and moist. And then that just lays on top of the bread while you're working. So that makes that easy. Okay, so let's get started with the first stack. So I'm going to take 3 pieces out. And we're going to do 1 piece with mayonnaise and 1 piece with the new mixture. And if you want to do this the day before, if you'll just melt a little bit of butter and spread just a tiny, tiny coating of butter, then the mayonnaise is not going to soak through on the bread. And that's one of the reasons why you can't make sandwiches ahead. So then we're going to take a little bit of this wonderful new filling with the horseradish and the dried beef, and then on this piece we're going to put on top of the butter just a little bit of mayonnaise, and let me butter this piece, and a little bit of mayonnaise on this one. And you could do 2 with the filling and just 1 with mayonnaise if you wanted as well. All right, so if you haven't learned that you can cook bacon in the microwave, you need to start. Because all I did was put 4 pieces of bacon on this paper plate, covered it with paper towels, and just really nice and crisp in the microwave, and you don't have all that splatter going all over the place. So I'm going to make the one with the good filling in the middle, the one in the center. So I'm going to cut, I've got a little bit of lettuce we're going to put on the top. All right, then I'm going to do the next piece with the beef, and I'm going to cut this tomato so it fits. And then, of course, I want a little bit of salt on top of that, and a little bit of coarse ground pepper. Now for the best part, the bacon. So we're going to crisscross that on the top, and then we're going to top it here, and you've got a wonderful double-decker sandwich that's going to just look great on a sandwich platter. So we'll do 1 more of these, and then these can go, like I said, in a container and sit overnight, and they will be just wonderful the next day. So this time I'm going to do 2 with the new spread and make this one a little different. And if you really want to go all out, those toothpicks could have a little flag for your favorite team on the top. I actually was going to go kind of crazy with that, and evidently Georgia Bulldogs things are selling out fast because I couldn't put my hands on a single one. All right, so I'm going to keep working on getting these sandwiches together, and when we come back from the break, we're going to be putting everything in the containers that it's going to be distributed in and used for my tailgate or either to have guests over. So come back and join us after the break. I'll have several of these sandwiches made. We're going to have a wonderful buffet. So glad you joined me tonight, and hopefully you've got some recipes you're going to want to try on NBC26.tv. If you click on Entertainment and go to the VeryVera show, the recipes for everything I did tonight will be there. So let's pull those hot chicken wings out of the oven. Oh, they look great. Such a great dish, and you know, this is something that you could have for dinner one night. Don't have to wait until a football game to do this. So I have got, of course, I'm kind of going with the Bulldog theme tonight. All you Clemson and South Carolina fans, Georgia Tech, you'll have to forgive me, but I had to pull for my team tonight. But I'm just going to transfer these to a silver and red appropriate platter. And these can be great right out of the oven, or they're perfect at room temperature. So whatever you want to do, and you can have some already done and just zap them real quick in the microwave. The only hard part about this is the cleanup afterwards, but we won't worry about that today. So wonderful chicken wings. If you've got any reserve on that pan, just let those drippings come over it. That'll be great. All right, and how about that broccoli salad that we made? It just looks wonderful. And I've got a dish that's actually a chip and dip dish, but I thought it would be great. You could have some extra grapes on the side. So I'm just going to transfer this to this container, and the green looks really great with this. And again, if you want to put bacon in this, you can, maybe play off that old recipe that you may already have that has the raisins and the bacon. But that looks really good, nice and crisp on the broccoli. And then, Three Monkeys always does my set and helps me with some of the props that we do for the show. And they were nice enough to bring me a silver and red set to use today. But I love these placemats. They actually look like leather. They're perfect. They just wipe off. They're wonderful. This is a great looking silver charger and then a red dinner plate. So if you're pulling that theme off at home, you might want to look at some of that. But this is where we're going to put these wonderful sandwiches, and I mean to tell you, they are still just as moist, just look great. And remember, the tip here was if you want to do them the day before, if you'll melt that butter and spread it on the bread, it solidifies and keeps the juices from everything else from going into the bread and making it soggy. So that's a great little tip. And if you're not into cutting bread and making little circles, there's nothing wrong with just the traditional half a sandwich. You know, it's a lot easier, but what's going to be wonderful here is that great cream cheese and dried beef mixture that we made. And it's actually really great as just a dip if you want to do something, maybe not in a sandwich, and have some chips, crackers, Fritos, or whatever to go with it. And then finally, maybe you guys think I left the best for last, but you know, at the Fresh Market, you can go in and select an assortment of 6 beers from their wide variety, from dark to light ales. They've got lots of things. So when I was picking out, I was thinking about the fact that in the fall, not only do we love football, but we also love fishing. So I found all kinds of beers that had to do with fishing. There's a Harpoon. Here was one that was Georgia Brown Ale that, of course, all of theirs has fishes on the logo. So, you know, maybe kind of play it up and do something different. Have a variety of beers. If you've got that traditional Budweiser, which is generally what's served at my house, you know, this is a really great way. So keep in mind when you're doing this, if you think ahead, maybe get some things done. The chicken wings can be done in advance and heated up at the last minute. Lots of variety here, things that you can use for a luncheon, not necessarily for football. So again, no matter what you do it in good taste. And thanks so much for joining me tonight. And may I end by saying, go Dogs. Hope your team is winning. I hope mine is too. Cheers.